I hope we can gather the energy to start this beautiful morning that we're going to spend together. May I ask you to take your seats? We're about to start this morning. Thank you so much. I'm very, very pleased and very honored to moderate this event this morning. I'm not going to make this moderation some kind of pain for you. I will try not to speak because it's not my role. My role is trying to make people feel comfortable here and try to make your voices heard instead of mine, which is always very difficult for every journalist in the room, but I'm going to try. I'm not going to present the NOLEBY project because you know exactly what you've been working on for the last years and this week especially, so I'm really pleased to welcome one of the people who started this adventure, Edwin de Bouvet. He is Executive Director of Dynamo International. We will have three speeches ahead of the presentations of the recommendation of the youth and street workers. And we're going to start with Edwin. Please welcome Edwin de Bouvet. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Oh, well, we stay here. Sorry. Hello? Yes. Hello. Welcome, everyone. I'm sure for most of you, you enjoy your karaoke yesterday evening. Yeah, I think so. So, thank you to join us today. We are here to mark the conclusion of the NOLEBY project funded by Erasmus Youth program, which brought together social street workers and young people from 13 European countries in our network. So, Dynamo International Network, social street workers, represent about 10,000 street workers in 58 countries, and in Europe, 23 countries are involved. Our strength comes from this diversity and shared commitment. As I recently write in the press release, you read it certainly, one of the EU greatest achievements right after freedom of movement, peace, and single currency is Erasmus+. But today, as talks begin on the next financial framework of European programs, we must stay vigilant. We welcome the increase in the Erasmus Plus budget, but we are concerned about a shift toward projects focused mainly on formal education and professional skills. Non-formal education, what helps young people grow as active, critical, responsible citizens, must remain at the heart of the program. We are also worried that young people with fairer opportunities, the so-called needs, you heard about it, may not longer be a priority. We need guarantees that youth activities will keep their place and that resources won't be absorbed by higher education alone. Without this, youth organization could lose out, and that would harm civic participation and local volunteering. Our message is simple. Every young people who wish to take part in a mobility or civic engagement project must be able to do so. This must stay a core mission of Erasmus+, my main message. And finally, Erasmus Plus must continue to support not only young people, but also the organization working with them on the ground, especially those reaching the most vulnerable, such as social street workers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Edwin. That was very clear. Thank you very much. Now please welcome Cédric Raffier. Cédric is coordinator for the Europe region for Dynamo International. Welcome, Cédric, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. You okay? Yeah. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Okay. I am not used to do this kind of task. So it's an honor for me to be here and to represent the Europe region of Dynamo Social Street Worker Network. So today, as Edwin said, we are here to mark the end of the 3 years NOLEBY project. So during this week with our colleagues, we can measure the achievements of this project. We can see the quantity result, as Edwin says, the number of country social workers, youngsters who was involved in this project, but also we could see the quality result regarding the topic we are speaking about, the topic we are working with, like mental health, migration issues, radicalization issues, fight against poverty, access to right, and also we speak a lot about recognition of social street work as a powerful methodology to deal with all these complex issues. So we are speaking now about the end of a project, and we are very happy to see how much the European network is dynamic now today. But it's still just a step in a long process. Last years in Europe, we have a lot of issues starting from the pandemic time, when we experience more control from the authority, less opportunity for people to socialize. After that, the start in Ukraine and now we are speaking a lot about weapon, army, defense, and we can see today that people get afraid of each other's losing connection. And we see also all the consequences like polarization, populism, mental health. So we are thinking about what to do with that. And there are no perfect answer, but what I would like to say today, that is very important to not forget that to be safe is not only about control, army, defense. To be safe is also about social cohesion and human rights. So what we can do, we can try to create spaces where people can meet, can speak, can share ideas, opinion, feelings. We can encourage relationship between people to know each other, to understand, to listen, to do together. And we have to be close to young people, especially the most vulnerable, and to empower them into our community. This is a daily task of the social street workers. We have to connect people and make sure that no one left behind. So this must be also the answer of the European Union, and to promote solidarity as a value. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you so much, Cedric. The third person to address you this morning is Valbona Istruna. So Valbona, you're an advocacy expert consultant, and you will actually base your speech on the overview of Dynamo International Social Network Advocacy Framework and Strategic Priorities. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll try. So I'm based in Greece, actually, for more than 30 years. And the last 22 years, I used to work on street work and helping people around Greece and all the countries around Greece to find their well-being that they deserve. Actually, we all know that nowadays we live in times when the universal conventions that are ratified decades before and implemented by governments that nowadays are involved in armed conflicts, are involved in poverty, creating panic, fear, lack of dignity, all the societies and all many members among us. For street workers, the experience is the biggest and the great teacher. So that's why we try in any time, with any opportunity, to share with society members our experience, our stories, and we listen every day during our daily work in order to make the legal frameworks operating on the best interest of us and the people we work with. So the governments today seem to be very far from the societies that are leading, that are supposed to lead. They are adopting even terminologies that are creating violence of the human rights of their people. Among them, there are many children, women, refugees, migrants that are even criminalized because they are refugees, because they are migrants, because they are Roma, just because they are people and they're looking for the best of their lives. So Dynamo International efforts for many years now and decades is related to the detection of means, the right means, and the most effective tools that encourage the dialogue between government and the societies and the people that are in disadvantaged context. For street workers, you never know that what lies behind the situation. No matter that how well prepared you think you are, anything can happen in that situation, can get reversed in an instant. And this gap we try to transfer to the governments and the people that are making the policies for us. So street workers can give back to the people the power to act in their own lives, to earn their well-being, to improve their conditions using the values of justice, equality, human rights, human dignity, and solidarity. So in those days, street work, and after all of these efforts, street work is not regulated by law. And Dynamo is always trying and making unlimited efforts in order to achieve those regulations all around Europe and not only. So we even cannot talk about professional fees, about insurance, that all the professionals can do it nowadays. So what it has been so far, it was based on the struggles of very few people around Europe and around the world. For us, there is the connection with the people that gives us the struggle and the satisfaction to continue. Let me read something finally and closing my presentation that we have uploaded in our website. The street makes me and all around me visible, makes it easy to see and to meet each other, to walk and to run, to drive and to be driven, to approach and to be approached, to observe and to be observed, to love and to be loved, to listen and to be heard, to teach and to be taught, to discover and to explore, to lose and to be lost, to help and to be helped, to drink and to be drunk, to move ahead and to be moved, to smile and to cry, to be angry and calm, to be tough and kind, to be afraid and strong, to be ordinary and special at the same time, to be at home without a home, to be active and to resist, to be united in solidarity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Valbona. Thank you so much. So, for those of you who don't know exactly what the situation is, I'm going to just stress one point for the coming presentations now. This, as you can see in the documents that you've been distributed this morning, this seminar marked the closures of a 3-year project in the presence of social street workers and young European people. Edwin told you earlier that 13 countries were involved in the project. Some of them are here today, of course. And they share their collective recommendation focusing on 3 key priorities, and those priorities were ensuring a stronger integration of the leave no behind approach with a particular focus on young people with fewer opportunities, emphasizing the crucial role of street social work in promoting inclusion and youth empowerment, and highlighting the importance of the Erasmus Plus program. Now what we are going to witness is the presentation of the recommendation, first by the young people and then by the street workers themselves. And we are going to start with the young people. May I ask you to come to the stage and start to work with us? Yeah, encourage them. You're welcome. The floor is yours. What do you need? How can I help? Do you need... So you have the microphones here. You can have mine.
Do you want to introduce us first?
Yes, well, hello. I'm Charlie. I'm from Sweden, and we all represent the youth in Europe. We have all different points that we would like to bring up and topics we think is important to discuss. But first we're going to introduce ourselves. So like I said, I'm Charlie, I'm 19, and I'm from Sweden.
My name is Masha, and I'm from Ukraine, and I'm 17.
Okay, hello, my name is Ilya, I'm from Ukraine, but actually I live in Belgium.
Hello, my name is Andre, I'm 23 years old and I'm from Portugal.
Hello, Hello, my name is Julia. I'm 17 and I'm from Poland.
Hi, my name is Matteo. I'm 19 and I'm from Sweden. And I'm going to start this off with a little story that I'm going to read to you. Can I start it? Yeah. My house is pretty. It's red and green with flowers climbing up the walls. My neighbors are nice. Flowers bloom in them too, their pollen spreading as we share dinners with burek and ramen and shawarma together. My city is exciting. There are shops and cinemas and people roaming the streets. I walk out my front door and descend a few steps connected to a graveled path. An old man who lives in the house next to mine is catering to his intricate yard. He waves politely as I pass, the same way he does every morning. His name is Adnan, and the flowers blooming on his head are blue. I return the wave with a genuine smile. I head to our local library. Upon entering the building, I notice that my favorite book is missing. At the front desk, a blonde lady is typing away at her computer. There are no flowers blooming on her head. I approach her and ask about my missing book. She tells me they had to clear some space, and the novel I'm searching for is simply not borrowed enough anymore. I look around. Half the shelves are empty, where stories about color and rainbows and culture used to rest. Why would they need to be cleared when the space left behind echoes only of silence? The lady seems annoyed that I'm still standing there and shoves a different book at me. Here, she says. I'm sure you'll enjoy this one just as much. With my mind stained by the lady's words, I leave the library. In my right hand is a novel about a girl in a town covered in white. She's scared of the dark, and no color of the rainbow paints her neighbors. This story is one I would have never chosen myself, but it's easy to be open to suggestion when all the doors of choice have been closed. My house is gray. The vibrant colors have dulled, and flowers no longer climb up the walls. As I trudge down my graveled path, the air is still. Adnan isn't out in his yard today, and so he doesn't wave as I pass. I go to our local restaurant. The menu is sparkling with burek and ramen and shawarma, but the people behind the counter have been swapped for men that look nothing like my neighbors. No flowers bloom on their heads. When I return to my block, the lights in every house surrounding mine have been turned off. The doors are locked and the walls scream that nobody's coming home and their flowers will never bloom again. My house is white. It used to be red and green with flowers climbing up the walls. Now the paint has faded and parasites nestle in the damp facade. My neighbors are dead. We still eat purek and ramen and shawarma, but my neighbors are dead. My city is empty. The colors are gone, rainbows have ceased to travel the sky, and any flower left has withered. Adnan no longer waves as I pass, and there is no more food to share. I recall a few words my great-grandmother gave me when I was young. It started with the little things she said. First, they stole our hobbies, then our education, and then our friends. By the time it crossed the line was already erased. Now my grandmother is dead, and people no longer hear her words. All mistakes left unlearned weigh on my shoulders as I step out the front door into our futuristic past. Thank you.
A few years ago, I was badly bullied. I went to my homeroom teacher. She told me that if I didn't act so gay and weird, they'd like me more. She told me that I can't truly believe that they will ever accept me like I am. I can't change who I was born as. I went to the school principal. He said he's gonna take care of it. He made some meetings and that was that. My homeroom teacher got worse. She wouldn't let me taste peace until she got rid of me. I managed to change class and not throw out my whole life over that. But I'm one of the lucky few. Most don't have that privilege. People of color, disabled, abused, vulnerable, don't have as much as opportunities as a typical person. Not because we're worse than others, but because the world thinks as such. We are seen as worse for something we can't change. So we're asking for an action. We're asking to help us when the teachers, bosses, police, government doesn't. We recommend that the EU implements a system that allows young citizens, particularly those in vulnerable or at-risk situations, to directly report cases of discrimination occurring at local level when local authorities fail to respond. We recommend that the EU include the issue of structural discrimination as a policy priority and develop structural and long-term, well-financed programs and campaigns to address it.
So, hello everybody. I want to speak about education. I think it's one of the important topics, and I found some shocking information, statistics in Belgium, in Wallonie. It's almost 50% of people who repeat their grade in school, and in Europe it's 15%. I think it's very big. It's very big, and we need to improve it. In school we have some problems. One of them is our mental health. We sometimes have depression, we are bullied, and support in school it isn't enough for us. I think we need to improve it. And also we have someone have stress about homework, about work, about tests in school, and it's not a place where you grow up, it's a place where you stress a lot. Also, I think a lot of youth want to study something more useful in life, like finance education, good relationship and sexual education, something maybe about politics, and about critical brain, because now we had a so fast world and we need to know which information is fake, which information is good, and it's really hard to filter it. Also, in in our life, the school is like foundation, like base, and we need it because if we don't have enough education, we will cause different problem, like we will bully someone, we will buy a shit, or we just will not see a goal in our life, and our life is bad because of this. So we all wanted to have something in our life, to be someone and to help Europe to improve together. Thank you.
This summer, I saw more red suns than I can count. The big red sun might look unique and beautiful, but the story it tells is far from it. When you see a red sun in Sweden, it means a forest is burning down in Canada. Unfortunately, wildfires are far from the only consequence from global warming. The change we see and will continue to see in our climate will be devastating for wildlife and humans alike. Ecosystems will be destroyed. Cities, they will drown. And pandemics will spread. This, however, I doubt is something new. We all know we need to recycle, we have to eat more vegetarian food, and we have to use less fuel. What will really save us in the end has nothing to do with us as individuals and everything to do with politicians and policies. All European members have signed and ratified the European Green Deal, which is a commitment to the Paris Agreement. The deadline for a climate-neutral EU is 2050. We are only 25 years away, and we have yet to see the economic growth, jobs, and technological development necessary for a sustainable future. We don't have time to hesitate. Europe is not prepared to deal with the risk that climate change causes and has already reached a critical level. The European Climate Risk Assessment demonstrates a step in the right direction. However, fossil fuels energy has reached a record high consumption. Identifying risk does not equal action. The focus and investment should be on cooperations. Attention needs to be paid to homeless, low-income families, disabled people who cannot save themselves when disaster strikes, because it is just a matter of time before society as we know it will collapse. The youth, we see this. We see that the ones in power don't do enough to ensure that we live to retire. It is not about what we didn't do yesterday. It's not about what we can do tomorrow. It's about what we will do today. Thank you.
Sorry. Okay. Immigration and security. Immigration and security. Okay. A problem we can no longer continue to ignore. While working on a social project, I learned one of the most important lessons. It's not truly possible to help someone if we first don't help ourselves. When we try to help everyone indiscriminately, we often end up being unable to help anyone effectively, because quantity is prioritized over the quality of integration. I wish it were possible to welcome all people who seek a better life, but the reality is that resources are limited and the state has the responsibility to ensure that those who arrive found dignified conditions and functional service and clear pathways for integration. In recent years, Portuguese nationality has been used as a gateway to the European Union, not necessarily because applicants wish to integrate our culture, contribute to our economy, or create roots in the country, but because the process has become too accessible and, in some cases, not demanding enough. Even more serious is the possibility of acquiring nationality without mastering the language or having an effective connection to the country. As a Portuguese citizen, it worries me to see our nationality devalued due to a lack of rigorous criteria and adequate control. However, it would be wrong and unfair to blame immigrants or generalize them. Many of them are, in fact, victims of a corrupt and weakened system and of opportunist networks that take advantage of the vulnerabilities of those seeking better living conditions. Contrary to what is often said, we do not rely on immigrants because we don't want to do certain jobs. We rely on immigrants because the wages offered in these sectors are too low to guarantee a dignified life for anyone. We say we have open doors, but when these people arrive in the country, they find endless queues, overloaded services, and administrative systems incapable of responding. The lack of planning opens the door to illegal intermediates and criminal networks that exploit these weaknesses. Many immigrants end up into debt to enter Europe, turning to criminal organizations that promises them documents support. In exchange, they become trapped in a situation of labor exploitation, often in establishments used for money laundering. These are cases of people sleeping in basements or overcrowded rooms divided by shifts, a degrading and unacceptable reality. None of this is compatible with the defense of human rights, public security, or respect for the dignity of our nationality. The problem is not the immigrants. The problem with excessive immigration is the lack of strategy, oversight, and state capability. Only with realistic, humanistic, and effective policies we will be able to protect both Portuguese citizens and the people who seek in Portugal a new opportunity for life. Let me ask you, how would you feel living in a seventh country in Europe where young people leave their parents' home the latest, at an average of 30 years old, while hearing at the same time a scientific director of the Migration Observatory state that the national population can remain in their parents' home for a few more years, while those who arrive, the immigrants, need a space to live. It is essential that we reflect on this. A just Europe is for me a Europe that places its citizens first, guaranteeing them dignified conditions to build an independent life, and then, with planning and responsibility, welcomes and integrates those who arrive searching for better opportunities. This is not about creating division. It's about priorities, balance, and social justice. Thank you.
So speaking about security, I won't speak about it as just an observer. I will speak as someone who lived inside a bar and now lives with its echo. I was certain when I first learned what a fear really is, the kind of fear that doesn't fit inside of human body. I sat in a basement, listening to explosions, hearing people scream, watching people who didn't survive. That feeling never leaves you. It becomes a responsibility, a duty, and an ability to stay silent. I escaped to save my life, but my family stayed behind, alone to face death, face to face with death. And I have lived with a guilt for surviving ever since. So when I speak about reform, it's not just politics, it's a pain translated into the language of systems. The United Nations was created to protect us from war, but today the system built to defend us is paralyzed by its own rules. Ukraine received words, resolutions, discussions, but everything was blocked by one word, veto. A country committing aggression sits in the Security Council and can't stop the world from helping millions of people. This isn't a failure of today, this is a flaw written into the foundation. When the Security Council was created, no one included a rule that states committing genocide, aggression, or violating international law should be automatically lose its veto. No one imagined that a permanent member would start a war and then block every attempt to stop it. 5 countries were placed above the world, and if one of them chooses violence, the entire system is powerless. You may ask, why does it matter to everyone? It matters because war isn't an exception. War is a product of human nature, our egoism, our desire for territory, our inability to learn from history, and history always repeats itself. We cannot talk about economics, education, business, or the future while the very heart of global security has stopped beating. The UN is the heart of their international system, and we keep trying to heal the body while the heart hasn't worked for a long time. So what can we do? I believe that we need a full reform, not to destroy the UN, but to rebuild it. A system where countries must earn their place, where power isn't inherited but deserved, where violations mean consequences and responsibility is rewarded. A dynamic model where influence depends on actions, peacekeeping, protection of human rights, contribution to global stability, not on what happened 80 years ago. This isn't about taking power away from the existing permanent five. That is impossible. They would veto any reform that threatens them. This is about offering them something better, a system where the influence is protected, but no longer absolute, where the veto is limited, not removed, and balanced by global responsibility shared by all of us. We need a council that belongs not to fight powerful states, but to the humanity. I'm only 17. I don't have money or a perfect life or a university finished yet, but I have lived through the consequences of the broken system. And I believe that if we want peace, we must reform the heart that holds the world together. Because without global safety, there is no education, no future, no progress, only fear, ashes, and silence. And I refuse to accept that as our destiny. Because what is going on around us is like a wheel that is spinning and repeating the terrible mistakes made by humanity. This wheel has already taken too many lives. I refuse to take another generation. I choose to break it. So will you?
Thank you so much for these very inspirational speeches. May I get another round of applause for those young people, please? Thank you so much. You can go back to your places now. Thank you. I would need some time to reflect on all those subjects, but the schedule is tight, and we will now hear from the street workers their recommendations for the future. And I'll now give you the floor. Welcome. Where are you? There you are. If I can be of any help, tell me. I'm here to support you.
Okay. So, hi everyone, I'm Ivana. I'm here as a youth worker and psychologist from Slovakia, and here is my colleague Idora representing Basque Country in Spain. We both are members of the Minimal International, which is the platform of social street workers, yeah. And today we are taking this opportunity of the final event of NOLEBY project activity as the space to share our view and our experience with the youth work as we see it on our daily basis. So today I want to share one story with you, the story which explains why I am standing right here, right now. And it is about Laura. Laura is 11 years old. She was forced to drop out of the school for health reasons. She dropped also off the structured system of psychological health and educational system, and there was no support for her. Her family was overwhelmed, and our local institution had no any coordinated system to help her or her family. Then we contacted our Erasmus Plus project partner in Iceland, asking for assistance in sharing their methodology guidance step by step, how to rebuild the trust, how to coordinate health and education services, how to support the family members in understanding their role. Today, Laura is back at school, recovering after necessary surgery, and her family knows exactly what must be done to keep her on a stable path. This experience reminds me that the essential that many of the solutions our young people need already exist somewhere in the Europe, and Erasmus Plus is the bridge that allows us to learn from one another and to put the solutions into practice. As such, we fully believe in the importance of having inclusive participation of everyone concerned by the Erasmus Plus, especially young people and those who work with them across the different countries. But through the new regulations of the European Parliament and of the Council for establishing the Erasmus Plus program for the period 2028 and 2034, we have seen no youth chapter. Upon consulting our members and the youth workers, we would like to provide our recommendation as our contribution to the shaping of the future program.
So, thank you, Ivana, for sharing. Indeed, as my colleagues mentioned, we are here to advocate for a stronger focus on youth involvement in order of leaving no one left behind. Youth work, including street work, is clearly a form of regular solidarity towards the young opportunity for all them around Europe. The opportunities for all of them, so Erasmus Plus enable this solidarity beyond the borders, raising the standards of youth and street work everywhere. This should be guaranteed in the future program between 2028 and 2034, filling the gap of the dedicated percentage for funding the youth projects. Furthermore, the terms youth work and youth workers should be highlighted as separate categories, maintaining the focus to us as active stakeholders. The youth workers are creators of content and initiators of processes, so we will deserve the visibility and resources for services, provision and youth activities. The inclusive non-formal, informal education, intercultural learning and civic-oriented youth activities develop the democratic freedoms to all of us, increase our resilience to the challenged realities, to crises, to individual needs, to the harmful practices. So the youth component in the Erasmus Plus program should be equally important as the formal education and training. It should describe clearly the program objectives in supporting the development of young people, civic participation and personal growth, give voice to the young people in our society and support the holistic development of them. The youth workers, including street workers, are the key actors of transforming the young people's experiences into policies that respond to their needs. This should be clearly recognized as decision shapers within the youth sector, also as contact points at national and European level, acting as carriers of European values and knowledge transfer among Europe and the disadvantaged context abroad, strengthening the deep commitment to the human rights. These dimensions within Erasmus Plus program are valuable for the European social cohesion and shape constructive pathways for young people who are flirting with polarization. Youth work provides the early response to scale it, and Erasmus Plus provides the resources to connect it with good practices all across Europe. Finally, we call the European Parliament and the Council for establishing the Erasmus Plus program for the period 2028-2034 to maintain the dialogue between young people and decision makers, and the gender equality participation of them by introducing concrete actions of these principles in practice in all parts of Erasmus Plus program. By empowering the young people, it reinforces the social resilience and democratic future of Europe. Thank you very much for your attention and the chance to present our views on youth street work as a methodology to change people's lives and generate new opportunities.
Hello, my name is Johan, and I'm a social street worker from Sweden, where I've been working with social street work methodology for 20 plus years in the city of Gothenburg. So we are very happy to be here today, and we want you to prioritize social street work as a preventive methodology in Europe, so that we can continue to reach the most disadvantaged youth and young people to make sure that no one is left behind.
Hi, I'm Karolina. I'm from the Czech Republic, and I'd like to share a story about how social street work can quite easily adapt to challenges, to social challenges. In 2022, a lot of Ukrainian refugees started coming to Czech Republic, and particularly in Prague there were huge numbers of those refugees. It was obvious that there needs to be actions taken, and social street work was the right answer. But there was a language barrier, so we created intercultural teams, one skilled social street worker and one intercultural worker. We found the intercultural workers among residents of Ukrainian origin who were already living in the country before the war. So our response in adapting social street work to the situation was quick, and it is necessary to stress that the state structures were not able to react this quickly. So that's a real story about adaptability of our work.
Yeah. So we stress that social street work is a methodology to approach the needs of vulnerable youth based on human rights and participation. So please help us realize that no one is left behind.
Hi, good morning. It's really great to be here, and after all of these testimonies, is kind of difficult to represent all of the people that are here. It's a very important moment for us. My name is Andre. I'm from Portugal. I'm doing social street work for 15 years. We don't have the recognition of social street work in Portugal, but we can talk about a team. I live in Porto. We have a lot of Roma communities in the district, and for over several years and even centuries, Roma communities were not included in the educational system. Where they were away from the formal educational. So in Porto, we found an answer to that was to put social street workers on the street in the communities, dialoguing and understanding the concerns, the needs, the preoccupation, the solutions that the communities have. And because of that methodology that was building trust with these communities, we were able to understand better the incredible and immensely enormous patrimonial culture that were in there, and skills and the talents and the competences of the communities, and it was recognized by the city as a patrimony that would be preserved. So the schools in the surrounding, they adopt in the curriculum parts of the heritage of the Roma communities, and because of that it was able to reduce drastically the levels of absence to school and to have more success. Now we have young people reaching higher grades of education, and because of that we have people from Roma communities achieving secure employment and leaving poverty. Thank you.
My name is David, and I'm a social street worker from the UK. Just following on to Andrew's case study, My case study is as a social street worker. I worked and supported a young person who was influenced by negative peers and experienced poverty in his community. The young person became involved in crime and entered the criminal justice system. After spending time in prison, the young person wanted to change his life but faced challenges to employment due to having a criminal record. Through consistent presence on the street, trust building and advocacy, I supported him to find employment and help him to distance himself from the life of crime. This case study highlights key social street work methodology, including be present and working on the street by meeting young people in their communities and own environments. Relationship building through establishing long-term trust relationship as a foundation of change. Empowering and advocacy by giving young people a voice, supporting access to opportunities, and challenging structural barriers. Social reintegration by guiding individuals away from negative influence, leading them towards constructive community participation. To conclude, this case study highlights how social street work methodology transform risk into resilience by combining trust, advocacy, and empowerment to young people.
Continuing on that, I am Ugna. I am a social street worker from Lithuania, and you heard a lot of stories that Andre and David share, and the young people also. So our main recommendation is also to recognize and implement social street work as an essential methodology of youth work, so that every young person in Europe, Portugal, Lithuania, France, Belgium, Slovenia, Slovakia, have their rights ensured to access universal services, healthcare, education, youth services, public spaces. By a recognition, we mean it's to making it an European policy and referring to social street work in youth field as a crucial tool to deal with ongoing challenges that you have heard what was referred by the young people who are the experts of their lives, and to be implemented by prioritizing in the planned budget to put it in practice. Social street workers are the only ones in the youth field who operate in the places and spaces where the young people are. So they are reaching the ones that it's hard to reach groups by making them visible and heard, so no one is left behind. Furthermore, the way we engage with our young people is enhancing safe and inclusive collaboration. Yesterday we talked with some young people, and one of the things that they said, which is very important from the social street workers, is that they listen and they make them heard. So following from that, as the young people are very aware of the challenges and the problems they face in their lives, we refer that the active participation with dignity, it is also crucial that the social street work methodology enhance, as it also referred in the European Charter of Participation of Young People in Local and Regional Life. So it's an essential role of youth civil society that was recently adopted by the Council of Europe.
Thank you so much for those interventions. What I propose now is that we have a pause for 15 minutes, and afterwards we will have the opportunity to reflect on what have been said this morning so far. Maybe a Q&A, and we will come back here in 15 minutes. Enjoy your pause and see you in 15. Hi everyone. Sorry for the little delay. We were waiting for Liv. We are going to start this table of discussion, I'd call it. It's not a round table, so we can't call it round. Maybe the first thing that I'm going to ask, and it's easier for everyone, could you just introduce you in a few words? Or maybe, well, Ariane, sorry, we can start with you, and then we'll go this way. I'm David, and I'm the moderator of this debate.
Good morning. I'm Ariane Fontenelle. Actually, I'm representing MEP Estelle Queulemans. She is very sorry, but she couldn't be here today because of a very, very good reasons. Yes, but I'm really happy to be here today with you and to represent her and discuss this important topic.
Thank you very much. Liv, maybe you have your microphone over there. Yep, everything is working.
Yes, good morning to all of you. My name is Line Meyer. Thank you for inviting me, and also there are two of my colleagues who are here. We work in the Executive Agency for Education and Culture, based here in Brussels, and we do basically the Erasmus Youth program. So what I can tell you about Erasmus, the youth program, and also what we do. I understand that there is a bit of interest in the future also, which we can also talk about. But please forgive me, you can hear I have a small cold, but I will try to do my best.
Completely
Thanks a lot
forgiven.
again.
Yeah. Andrea, maybe more people know you, but it's very important that you introduce you as well.
Good morning again. My name is André Souza. I'm from Portugal. I'm representing, I'm the coordinating Dynamo Portugal that is affiliated from Dynamo International platform. And I'm also a street worker for 15 years. And it's a great pleasure to be here to represent all of these great street
assembly.
workers.
Yeah, thank you. Keep the mic, because maybe both of you that were here for the first part of this meeting this morning have heard the young people take the floor and express their concern about the present and the future, and also making some recommendations. And I would like you, maybe for Lynn, who wasn't here, to maybe have a little feedback, and maybe how you've received their statements today. Andre?
Yeah, I'll try. So I think this morning represents a really important moment, a really important moment for to put young people's voices in the places that they have to be, and that's an importance, a very important thing that we always that we have to be aware of, because it's quite different to actually perceive and understand the real concerns and the reality of things that are happening on the streets and the reality with these young people. And these stories are real. And it's very important that these real stories come to the places that where effectively you can make policies that change the realities of person. We are talking about young people that live around all Europe from many countries, and they are facing really troubles in these days. And so we have to be aware of that, and we have to be responsible taking decisions. And I think it was quite clear, very clear, the demandings and the recommendations that they made because of their problems that they are facing. And also we have social street workers that are on the places that these young people are. And they are where the things really happened, and building connections, building trust, understanding, making active listening of that, and they are prepared to support this life, that they choose, and they are free willing to choose, and to make them be to develop in a more healthy and happier way in life.
Thank you, Andre. Ariane, maybe?
Yes, actually, I would like firstly to say thank you for the inspiring testimonies that I heard this morning. And also, I would like also to thank the street workers for the impressive work they do. I was very touched by the testimonies, and also I found it very, actually today I heard a word, solidarity. And I have the impression, to tell you the truth, that in these days, at the European level, in the European debate, this is a bad word. It's always competitiveness everywhere, it's defense everywhere, but all the social aspects are a little bit put aside, and I'm really sad about it, because I think for me, and I'm really passionate about the European Union, and I think the EU cannot be a market, and will never be a market. And the citizen should always be at the center of the European Union project. And I have the impression that is not the case anymore. And when I heard all the discussion about the next MFF, the multi-annual financial framework, in my previous work, I was part of a team I worked for Belgian government, and we were there for the discussion of the previous MFF. And this MFF, we can see the difference. And
there's a shift.
There is really a shift. Yeah, definitely competitiveness. But okay, I can understand. But it's
where's the human touch?
Yes, and also, and maybe I will just stop with it, but also I'm also a bit, there is also the omnibus agenda, and there is a period of deregulation, and deregulation is most of all for social affairs or environmental affairs, which I think quite worrying. But I will stop. Maybe we can talk to.
Of course, we can elaborate.
Yes.
Of course, definitely. So, Leni, you had two visions of what was said this morning, and the concerns of the young people, and also the street workers. Maybe considering the fact that you're also responsible for this program that is Erasmus Plus, maybe it's interesting to see if there is kind of hope that that work can still be done in the future.
Yes, thank you. I'm an optimist person.
Good, we have one.
Yes. I do believe that there is absolutely a lot of trust still to be given, also for the future, for you young people. Let me mention some of the issues that I also see now. And that we are working with. You know that we are, as Ariane said, we are now in what we call the multi-annual financial framework of 2021 to 2027. So 2027 is soon, and we will, and we are negotiating the 2028-2034 multi-MFF, as you say. And this is happening very concretely now. You know, the Commission published the framework in July, and now all the different parts are being negotiated. And this is very heavy and very intensive just now. Now, the first good thing that I see on that is that, first of all, the Commission suggested a budget increase overall for the period, so that basically the percentage of GDP which goes to the EU should be higher in the future. Yep. What I also see is that, and that's positive, is that Erasmus was singled out. You could actually identify Erasmus in what they said. This is very positive because there's a lot of streamlining going on. Lots of programs are being put together and so on, but Erasmus is singled out, which I think is a very good sign. It's a recognition also of the, so to speak, Erasmus brand. It's well known across Europe and in fact across the whole world. So this we can rely on. This is a good thing, I think. what I also see, and I am sure maybe all of you have seen that, when the new commission came into place in November last year, and they got their letters from the president, there are two things there I wanted to point out, which is interesting, I think, on a more maybe social perspective. First of all, there is a topic which is called intergenerational fairness. I don't know if you've heard about that, but that's actually a new kind of wording that was introduced and which we are now working with. I basically, and this is maybe more my personal hope, in the perspective of, you know, young people looking at how they can fare in nowadays lives when you have older generations which are basically sitting on a lot of the resources which they have. It's difficult for young people, we know that, to get their own independent life in a number of countries. Mm-hmm. And you can see this issue of intergenerational fairness. We're developing it, what will be in there. I think there's a very fairly, I hope, open debate about what can be put into there. What is not clear at the moment, as far as I understand, is how much, what kind of budget will be allocated to that. But it's being developed. We are doing that also under Commissioner McAuliffe, who is our youth commissioner. So I put some trust into that this will happen in a good way. The other issue I wanted to point out is maybe not so well known in the NGO world, but that is that the Danish commissioner, I'm Danish by the way, but the Danish commissioner got the sort of, he's going to work on housing policy, and we were all like, housing policy? Why is the commission now working on housing policy? Yeah. But I think it's worth to keep an eye on that, particularly because as I see it and what I have read is that housing policy is very much perceived from the point of social issues, you know, a social policy, that housing policy should be fair, that accommodation should be within reach for young people, that they can afford it and so on. So I think that's another subject which is really worth keeping an eye on, also for the next MFF. So that's the issue. Now I already talk a lot.
No, it's okay. That's why you're here. So thank you very much for talking. There's something more about the question that I was asking you actually, which is we know that indeed the budget was increased for Erasmus, which is obviously a good thing. But there were some concerns about the fact that the people with the young people with less opportunities would still be somewhere taken care of in this budget. There was some kind of framework before where there was some reassuring wordings in the program that made sure that people and young people with less opportunities would actually be part of the program and would be able to reach it. Is that something that we can say today is going to be effective in the new program?
Well, and nothing is for sure because this is being negotiated
You're
at the
Danish,
moment.
but your answer is like from Normandy, huh?
But I cannot see, I mean, Erasmus is also a social program. It has always, well, not always, in fact, it started out very much like student mobility, but it's nowadays and has been for many years a program which certainly puts aside a sizable, significant budget for young people for non-formal education. And I can't see why that shouldn't continue in the new program. There is in all of our actions, those which are at national agency level and those which we run in our agency, always a a regard for young people with fewer opportunities, and it's in our award criteria when we choose proposals. I don't see in the stars any any reason for why this should disappear, but
we never know.
We can't say anything because this is coming out now. You know how the program guide of the Erasmus is conceived. At the moment, it's basically a bit of a rewrite every year, but it's quite stable. It stays the same, and we have a very set rhythm of using and selecting applications and using the money on what we are supposed to do compared to the objectives of our goals and so on. And that perspective, I can't see that it will change a lot. But maybe I'm too naive.
Ariane?
Maybe if I can just compliment, because you are all coming from different member states here. And you know, as it is just said, the next MFF is negotiation are ongoing. And you know, the member states have a strong power to negotiate the MFF. Actually, it's member states. You know, the European Parliament has to express what the European Parliament wants, but at the end, the people around the table will negotiate.
Are the heads of state? Yeah,
they are heads of state of government or of government. So I think we should definitely, all of us, fight for a dedicated funding for EO's project. I heard that it was one of the recommendations, but I think it will be very, very, very important in each of our members, in those states, member states, to advocate for it, because I'm quite sure that you have a lot of connection with your government, but and also as citizens, definitely we should do it, because we all know, and we have also, but it's another discussion, but we have also the same problem for the European Social Fund. Actually now there is no proper budget line for the European Social Fund in the next MFF.
Not at all? Not at all.
We have a regulation, but not funding. So that's why we advocate for a proper one, because we know that if definitely we will have to have money, it should be indicated in the document.
Absolutely. Maybe a comment, André?
Yes, I can add that the Erasmus Plus it has been for several years a strong instrument for young people to have opportunities and to have another ways to be and to transform. We has a network, international network. We were able to be on the 49th session of the Congress of the region councils of the Council of Europe, and it was the general topic that was evoked is the lack of funding and the attack that NGOs are being in this moment to work with the populations, especially the populations that are especially in vulnerability. Of course, the Erasmus Plus is not going to give structural funding to that, but it's but it's an essential instrument to allow and enhance the work that's been doing with young people and youth, especially in situations of vulnerability. And that's why we are also optimistic. That's why we are all here. That's why we are here putting this in the agenda and to make efforts that is put in the framework and the next framework. Yeah.
But as an observer, I have this kind of weird feeling that there is this kind of war between two visions of the world, which with one more focused on prevention and the other one more on competitivity. and that the warriors in this war don't have the same weapons to fight against an ideology that might be maybe too strong to fight against. So I don't know if you can elaborate on that, André or Ariane or Len.
In our perspective, yeah, that's very, because the work that we do are centered on people. So it's really, you have to understand that this is a long-term investment. This is structural things, and we cannot enhance the potential and and to give opportunities to people in a short period of time. So that's why one of the things that we are doing here is the recognizing of social street work as a methodology, and it was specifically funds and long-term funding to that. Another thing that was said in the Congress, it was that we operate, and we are talking about people that are on the streets, are on public spaces, and now it's we have like another thing that's undertake. It's the public spaces occupied by private, and it's another thing that we have to advocate to be. So of course we are talking about different languages. We respond to the human language. Of course it has the component of economic and financial, but we have to believe that we are talking in the development of competencies. We are talking about the development of a human being. We are talking of the development of communities. We are not talking about the development of the economic system. Of course, that's a reflection of our work after that, and we hope all of these people are well in life. They have housing, they have opportunities to have education, they have opportunities to have access to health care, they have opportunities to be protected by the people that they trust. But we are making efforts to be in the present and to be in contact with people.
Absolutely, thank you. Ariane?
Yes, actually my MEP, she's a former trade unionist, so yes, she is used to background. She has a background, and she's used to fight for the rights of people, and definitely the people will always be at the center of our work. And that's true that, okay, maybe because of that, and maybe we are even more worried. And okay, I'm also most of the time an optimistic, but these days I'm scared. And also the fact that because I work at the European Commission, European Parliament, sorry, because because I used to work for the European Commission, so yeah, but because I work and I'm worried about the far right. And the fact that they are really present and they're very strong and they are stronger and stronger, and the fact that now today, and that's the first time that I'm really scared about the future of the European Union, because they are strong. They are stronger at the European Parliament, and
well
also
organized.
Very well organized, very good. I'm really, it's difficult for me to say it, but I can definitely see how they work, and they are really good in communication, for example. But not all. But also now they work with EPP. With EPP, the Conservative, which is the most important group in the European, and now they have a majority together. And so when they decide together to have an agenda which is not progressive agenda at all, they can do it, and we see it. And
they do.
This week, it was the plenary session in Strasbourg, and we saw again vote between EPP and the far-right parties, far-right group. So that's why I cannot be as optimistic as I used to be. But you know, we continue fighting. We will always continue fighting against them. But it's true that I'm really, you know, the EPP, the European, was one of the group which were more in favor of the European Union agenda. So I don't understand how they can do this, and I don't understand, because it's very dangerous. And so that's why, and I think all of us, we should be concerned of what's happening now at the European Parliament.
Lane, maybe some kind of reflection about that?
In fact, I don't have a lot of reflections on that. I think we all observe what Ariane is saying, but when you work in the Commission and you work with both policy and program implementation, this is actually very concrete. And I can't say much more than that, because it would always be my personal opinion, you know. And of course I have personal opinions, but we are working as public employees. We are certainly implementing the spirit of the Erasmus program, and this is what I can talk about. The Erasmus program, I think, has a lot of good things, and I hope always that we are transparent towards towards the public, of course, but also towards our target population, in the sense of trying and selecting good projects which benefit everybody, and in my area, in the colleague and where we work, basically benefit young people, and their young people with a few opportunities is certainly a very strong element of what we do. I think we can always do better, but this is what we do concretely, and I really, as I said before, for the new MFF, my take on competitiveness, if you ask me that, I'm a bit of an economist as a background, and I know very well that even if you talk about competitiveness, the idea should never be that you sort of isolate that phenomenon and do not link it to a lot of other issues in society, because nobody really benefit from a society where distribution of resources is too unequal. So competitiveness does not benefit from societies which are very unequal, and I hope we are all know that. So
we can assess that, definitely, of course. The time has come. If you have questions of reflection, or if you want to, give your opinion in this conversation, the time is now, and I'd be glad to open the floor to anyone who would actually ask a question or participate in the debate. I still have thousands of questions, but I promised that I wouldn't talk too much, and the floor would be yours. So if you want to intervene, just raise your hand, and the mic will come to you. And I
talk too much.
Go ahead.
You help me?
Yes. Of course.
You know my slogan?
You know my slogan? You do nothing. Huh? You do nothing. Yes.
The microphone is not working, actually.
I need to touch. Okay.
No, it's okay.
It's okay now.
Yeah. It's very okay.
My question is for Erasmus, for the lady. I have a group job in the WhatsApp, if you want to see. I have a lot program of Erasmus, but you don't go everywhere because you need to pay for that. You need to pay travel. I have youngs don't have money for that. It's not easy to go. If you see here, for 29 January, and 4 February 2006, you go to Bulgaria. You need to pay 300 euros for go there. For one young is poor, you don't have this money for go. You don't have a chance. Chance, no? Chance for go. 300 euros is too much for one family. Don't have a food in home. You understand? I go because I work. But for Michaela go, it's not possible. You understand? You don't pay that for go Bulgaria. In another place, okay? Is my question. Why the travel is not free?
Lenny, if you have a question, an answer.
I think you might. You are referring to a concrete example?
You want to see?
No, I don't want really to see. In the Erasmus program guide, indeed there are actually wordings on that you shouldn't pay and so on. So what I suppose you're talking about is a project or whatever, and they ask for money in addition to what they have in from the Erasmus program, and they ask the participants to pay for that. Now we get those kind of complaints once in a while, and we treat them. So if you think this is not according to whatever project this is, then you need to contact the Erasmus coordination. It depends a little bit on if it's a national agency project, you contact the national agency. And if it's a centralized project, you contact us, and we will deal with it. We do have complaints like that. I can't answer your question now, but you are not.
But it's a good start already.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I mean, obviously, when you are working with a big program like the Erasmus, and we know that there is a lot of things going out there in the world. What we are obliged to do when we work with the Erasmus program is that we should monitor the projects that we are selecting. And when we monitor projects, it basically means that we are making sure that the contract we sign with this, the projects, that is carried out according to the contract, you know. So we have an obligation to look at when this is not going according to the rule and to the grant agreement. And we try that as best as possible. So when we get information about that, sometimes it doesn't happen as it should happen, then we need to react on it. And we really try to. It's also part of our work, yes. I know this very well.
There were also some kind of concerns about the fact that some people, or we heard here, are very professionals into filling in forms, and they appear to be very reliable. And some people who do a great job with young people on the street, they might not have the skills, and they might appear to the people monitoring their candidacy, candidature, they might appear not to be reliable, but in fact they are, and the first ones are not. So how do you deal with that? And that's also part of the problem or the concerns that these people have about the fact that there should be somewhere a way to word in the program that there is a place for people with less opportunities and maybe less skills or competencies to filling forms to be part of the project, but are very responsible and very reliable on the streets doing their jobs.
Well, yes, thank you for that. This is a difficult question, in fact, and it's one that we are dealing with, I think, every day in our work. That is basically, how do you select the best projects? It hasn't become easier in some ways because we have AI nowadays. It's very easy to write an application which looks very professional. I mean, in the old days, you used to, we knew about consultants which were hired to make nice English formulated applications and so on. So it's not that we don't know, and it's not that we don't try to take our precautions, but this is developing also now very fast. And I can only say that the Erasmus program is trying to develop as well, so we still have the ambition that we select good projects and so on. But that's why I'm saying once we have selected the projects and so on, then we are also obliged to monitor the projects and see that they are implementing what they said they would implement. But I don't want to hide either that there are certainly some ethical concerns, particularly in the youth area also, for the NGOs that we're looking into, and we are, I wouldn't say concerned about it, because I mean, this is our society developing. But we need to try to be fair and choose the best projects. You know that we are working with experts who are experts in the youth area. So we do have the whole army, so to speak, to try to figure this out in a good way. And this is what we're going to do, and still doing, and we will keep on doing it, whatever.
Thank you.
Hello. It happens to be that I am an academic expert that assesses youth projects, and I have been sitting in selection panels for the last 20 years within Erasmus in all categories. And if I may, I would like to complement from my perspective and my background that represents a lot of persons that are sitting in committees, experts in education, some questions that have been raised that I think from our perspective we could add something else. I have heard 3 topics and I will address them. Try to complement them. I am a very optimistic person despite the immense complexity and huge disappointments about the institutions. I used to be all for Europe, and now I have moderated a little bit more my enthusiasm, and I think you know all why. We've talked about politics and you know. But anyway, let me go to the questions. One is, do you think in the next, I'm just talking very broadly, but one question that you have raised is that in the future, considering that the youth program will be renewed, which will definitely be renewed, excuse me for my convincement, how important will be vulnerable youth? And will there be specific money to it? I am evaluating youth programs since 2004, and since then, access to people with less opportunities has been increased. This criteria has taken bigger and bigger and bigger significance, to the extent that we are talking if artificial intelligence does projects. Okay, if the proposal doesn't define the target group, who are the vulnerable people, and how they will be addressed, it won't pass. We give definitely very big importance to this sector, and I think the selection happens in 2 ways. We experts do the first screening, and the commission decides the final. But since it's a main criteria, the commission considers that if you have money, you don't need such subsidies. So if a proposal is very well documented for vulnerable people, be sure that it will be elevated among the best. Now, just to link with what concerns us so much about how do we fit the youth work within the context of a new commission that has passed from everything green to everything becoming the most competent society, which we have heard these buzzwords already. Since, this ridiculous approach. If I may see what I have seen in the future, the way it has evolved, because youth work, what we are seeing is that the word competence, how is it increasingly inside the youth program? Because the themes are changing a little bit. I get from the very origin. Let me, how many, do I have 1 more minute, 2 more minutes?
2 more minutes.
2 more minutes. I try to be very synthetic. The real difficult thing has been to introduce youth work within the European Commission, okay? That was a miracle, and I see Monsieur Garçon here. It was definitely the commitment of very engaged EU cities, EU officials. So once it's there, it's been there for 20 years, the results are spectacular. It will be staying there. I have no doubt about it. But the orientation has changed. They managed to put it in, and they were thinking, how can we put in youth? Okay, it has to be result-oriented. It has to be competence-oriented. So they invented the youth pass. Okay, so you didn't understand why the youth pass. Okay, so there are people inside the commission that keep lobbying and inventing how can it become compatible with the future approaches. Just to finish, what I have noticed in the last 10 years is that issues like now everything, if the youth program, if the projects you write have not only the buzzwords, but go to the very core of developing transversal competences, which is also solidarity, which is also human relations, then they consider it competent. If we are more and more getting into employability, okay? So that's another element. It doesn't mean that the youth program will change. It means that the thematic priorities might be slightly different oriented towards employability, towards digital competence, but obviously within the huge challenges of the society, the issue of integration will be there. Just to finalize, I'm very optimistic. What I can see still is that vulnerable people will be at the top, and that the thematic issues might be a little bit more oriented towards competitiveness, translated into the youth work. How can we have young people to not only create healthy communities, but to get them into the jobs?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to take 2 more interventions from the room, and then I'll give you the floor if you want to. Valbona? Yeah. And then I saw you. Okay.
Thank you very much for being here. I was trying to understand, actually after the first question, why the youth chapter remains outside the proposal. But I couldn't actually clearly understand why it happened. Why in this proposal the non-formal education or informal education, intercultural education in general, it is mentioned less and less times in the proposal than the formal one. Do you think that, first of all, is there any explanation from your side that why it happened? It was by accident? It was by purpose? Or do you think that, the institution of Erasmus thinks that these are not so necessary to be mentioned in the proposal, but they are going to get supported? The second question is that, okay, after this event and after our recommendations, which are the next steps? that you can do for us, which is the voice that you can move forward for us. And the same question is for your political office. What are the next steps that you can do after this event? Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going to take your intervention and then I will give.
Mine was kind of similar in the way, because I am also thinking and listening to all this discussion and what have been said before by the youth and the street workers. I think it's the question of the priority. I just give a simple example. I'm thinking when I am going, for example, in my country in the streets, and you want to park by the shop, there are spaces very specifically prioritized for the people with disability. It is a sign, so it's reserved there. There is a specific places reserved for the electro cars, so it's also a very specific sign that the other cars do not park there, or if they park, they should get a fine. So there are very specific reserved places because we want more inclusiveness, we want more to address the climate change and yet to have it more friendly, environmentally friendly choices. So we have to reserve the spaces to make everyone visible. One of my colleagues say if you go outside and you don't see any disabled people, it doesn't mean that they do not exist. It means that your environment is not friendly to be visible and it's not inclusive. So I think also it's something, elaborating also from what Valbona said, something about when you say it's a great job to put the youth work and it's there. So also we say, you know, in that all youth work, we talk about the street work methodology because also it's very specific, so everything needs to be put there, it needs to be reserved, and it needs to be prioritized. So also it's, I think the Valbona asks very good questions about how we need to prioritize things and how it needs to be put in practice on paper so it can be exercised and can be put in practice. Also the question is more for me not about the general things, but I think especially now in the democratic crisis, radicalization, we need to be very precise because the other sides, they are quite precise on the things they want.
Absolutely.
So I think for us it's also very important to put priorities and to protect that, not to be happy about the general things that we already achieved, but how we can go forward and make it more visible, all the people and all their needs. So it's, yeah.
Thank you very much. Any one of you from the panel that would like to reflect on this? Yeah, of course, Ariane.
Yes, just to say that I cannot agree
more.
The priorities, and I think to tell you, you know, the negotiation they are still on, so we still have to advocate for changes until when we will have the European Council, we will say we have an agreement of the ex-MFF, things can still change. That's why we have still to advocate and carry on advocate for this, and definitely agree with you, we have to choose priorities because we won't have many red lines at the European Parliament, for example. We will have to negotiate also what is the position of the European Parliament on the whole MFF, but that's why we have red lines and we should definitely prioritize them. And you know, my MEP, okay, she's not dealing with Erasmus because she's in employment and also following SANT, what is ALS committee and environment committee. She's not in Quel, which is dealing with the issue of Erasmus, but she has a strong voice in the group, and then she can carry on fighting for this within the group, and then that's what she does.
Thank you. Any of you? Len? André? No?
Well, I just wanted to say I can't say so much about what's going on at the moment simply because I don't know enough about it. What I have seen, and I refer to the lady there in green, what she also said is that in this MFF we have seen that there is more and more focus on young people with fewer opportunities, and it's I think basically that we try to define it better and better, and we are still very much in that process, and that process will probably develop, but what's going to happen in the next program more concretely and so on, I can't really talk a lot about that, simply also because I don't know a lot about it.
André?
Just to finish, I think everything was said, but to say that our methodology is based on go towards the other, go to the contest. So we are all available to be present in these conversations. We are all available to discuss these things. We are available to be in here and to be present, and because we have to protect the public spaces, we have to protect where young people are, we have to protect their rights, and so we have to protect the recognition of social street work as a methodology to work with youth.
Yeah.
And by that we mean that we need resources to implement the social street work as a methodology. And just to finish, a concern that it's very important for us, we are talking about real lives. So of course, and we are talking about all the things that we do is based on real life, real context. You can see in here. So for us, it's a major concern that AI thing that can. So it would be very good for us that mechanisms to understand who is in real contact with people, that we are doing real things, and they are giving opportunities to the people that really are in need and need that
in the real world.
Extremely important, and we are willing to be in those places, in those discussions, and to be present to help you to make that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think it was the perfect conclusion to this meeting this morning and to this work that we've done together. As my personal opinion, I was really pleased to have to wake up early in the morning to join you this morning, because this conversation that we had and the voices that I heard from the young people, but also from the street workers and also from you guys, was something very different than what I hear or read or see when I go on the internet and on the Facebook or on Instagram. My algorithm is fucked up. What I really want is have you as my algorithm now. So thank you very much for your intervention, and I'm really happy that I was invited by Dynamo for doing this. Thank you guys.